All right, let's have a look at an example here of dividing polynomials. I have 2x to the power of 4 plus 2x squared plus x minus 3. Notice that we skipped a power. We went from 2x to the power of 4 to 2x to the power of 2. There's no cubed terms in the middle here. We do need to correct that. So I'll show you how we do that in a moment. But dividing polynomials is very similar. Like the structure is very similar to dividing just double-digit numbers. It's an acronym that we use. It's don't miss the bus, and it stands for divide, multiply, take, bring down. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and adjust this dividend here, and I need to adjust it to show all of the powers, because at the moment I'm only showing a term with the power of 4 and a term with the power of 2 and a term with the power of 1. I need to show a term with the power of 3 in the middle, otherwise our answer is going to be incorrect. So what I'll do is I'll adjust this. Bear with me, you won't be able to see it live happening, but just give me a moment. So all of this I'm going to shift to the side. See how I've made a space? I'm going to add in there 0x cubed. So I'm still showing that there is no x cubes here by putting a 0 here, but it's just giving us that structure there so we can complete our answer. Now this part here was a point of contention with some of my students today, and this is how I'm going to teach it. There is another way called synthetic division. I'm not assessing students on synthetic division, and I'm not assessing on this particular question either. So any questions where adjustments like this needed to be made, I will not expect any students to be able to do this. I'm not assessing your skills on this. Having said that, let's continue with the normal process of dividing polynomials. So when we first use our divide skill, we only divide by the variable here, by x. So our question is, how many x's fit into 2x to the power of 4? In other words, x times what makes 2x to the power of 4? And that's 2x to the power of 3. And we write our answers in line in the correct column. Okay, so now that we've divided, we're now going to go to multiply. So 2x cubed multiplied by x, and when we multiply by both x and this positive 1 term here. So dividing, we only divide by the variable, but when we multiply by both terms. So let's do that. So 2x cubed multiplied by x is 2x to the power of 4. And 2x cubed multiplied by 1 is just 2x cubed. Notice I'm writing all my answers in the correct columns. Okay, we're now setting up for a takeaway. We'll take away the bottom of what we've just written from the top. So setting up, we put a subtraction sign to the left, and because we're subtracting both terms on the bottom, we need to put brackets around to show we're subtracting both terms. Okay, so let's do this. 2x to the power of 4, take away 2x to the power of 4. Well, that's just 0. So I'll just put a line here. We don't need to put a 0 here. We can just leave that. It's nothing. And then 0x cubed, take away 2x cubed, is negative or minus 2x cubed. Now that we have taken away, our next step is the B, which is bring down, and that means we bring down the next term, and that's 2x squared. We bring that down, and because we've brought down now, we're ready to go back up to the top, and we start again, and we start dividing. So again, how many x's will fit into negative 2x cubed? In other words, x times what makes negative 2x cubed? And that's going to be negative 2x squared. Negative 2x squared. So when you're dividing, your answers always go up to the top, and that answer you just put in now becomes part of the next step, which is multiply. So now, negative 2x squared multiplied by x and negative 2x squared multiplied by positive 1. And our answers go below. So again, negative 2x squared times x is negative 2x cubed, and negative 2x squared times 1 is just obviously negative 2x squared. Now that we've multiplied, we're now going to take away the bottom from the top. So take away, putting brackets around to show we're subtracting both. Negative 2x cubed, take away negative 2x cubed. So essentially what's happening here is these two negatives are being combined and they turn into an add. So negative 2x cubed add 2x cubed, that's just 0. So I'll set up, and 2x squared take away negative 2x squared. Well, that's 2x squared, add 2x squared, that makes 4x squared. I'm now going to bring down my next term, and that's positive x. I've now done a second cycle of don't miss the bus. I'm now going to go back up to the top and start again with my dividing. So, how many x's fit into 4x squared? In other words, x times what makes 4x squared? That's going to be 4x. The answer of which goes up to the top, positive 4x. And we now use that for our next step, which is multiplying. So 4x times x and 4x times 1. Let's put the answers in and we'll put them in below. So 4x times x makes 4x squared. I'll write that. And 4x times 1 is just 4x. Subtracting both terms, so making sure you put your brackets. Let's set up our answer. Here we go. 4x squared minus 4x squared, that's nothing, that's 0. And x, take away 4x, that's minus or negative 3x. Bring down our last term, negative 3. We're now almost there. We're ready for our final run with the don't miss the bus. Let's divide one more time. How many x's fit into negative 3x? In other words, x times what makes negative 3x? That would be negative 3. So negative 3 goes up the top. Let's just put an extension on our little line here so we can see what the answer is. Okay, we've now divided. We're going to multiply that number we just divided and multiply it by both x and positive 1. Here we go. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And negative 3 times 1, well, that's just negative 3. We're now going to subtract both terms from below. Get ready for our answer. Negative 3x, add 3x, that's 0, and negative 3, add 3, well that's 0, and that is our remainder. So our answer goes up the top with a remainder of 0, and that is 2x cubed minus 2x squared plus 4x minus 3.